All right, why don't we get started? Welcome, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining. My name is Henry Chi. I'm the Chief Product Officer and your host today. I'm joined here today with Ed Zimmer. He is the founder and CEO of ControlSense. We're really excited to introduce this platform for you and show you guys how it may be able to help you. So a little more about ourselves. Ed, if you want to go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Henry. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. My background includes working at Citigroup for over 30 years, first as a technology auditor, and then as the director of their audit and innovation team. And throughout my career in audit, I have been committed to improving the audit capabilities through the use of automation. A few years ago, I even co-authored a book on audit analytics. But now, artificial intelligence capabilities really allows us to significantly increase audit productivity and assurance we provide to our stakeholders. And that really, Henry, inspired us to create ControlSense. Back to you, Henry.
And my name is Henry. I met Ed while at Citi in the audit group, specializing in business continuity and certain technology risks. Over 15 years of audit experience, plus another 5 in first line, building up control and testing capabilities. So all along those same risk frameworks. Joined ControlSense a couple months ago. Really because they had this excellent product and introduced to me, and I thought this was one of the first real benefits of AI I've seen, where it can definitely benefit audit teams from a workflow and quality perspective. I'm going to get into today's agenda. Pretty typical, but we'll go through, kind of summarize some of the challenges that audit teams face today. We'll go through what ControlSense is, give a little bit of sense of how it started, what we plan to do with it. I'll then provide a live demo, and just everyone keep eyes and ears out. We will have a couple polls where you can influence what module we end up demoing. We'll go through next steps in case this is of interest, something that you think you may want to test out and try out. We'll give you a little bit of instruction on how to go through that. And then finally, the Q&A. So throughout this whole webinar, feel free to use the Zoom's question and answers section there to ask us questions, and Ed and I will try to answer as many of those as possible near the end. All right. So why don't we talk a little bit about, the audit challenges that you've seen, Ed, during your time?
Yeah, thanks, Henry. We have resource challenges, manual process you can read here, but at the end of the day, executive management, board of directors, they really have high expectations of audit to keep pace with what we really are, seeing as an increasingly complex business risk. And that creates challenges for resources from an audit point of view. We already have usually aggressive annual audit plans. Then if we're asked to have a special project to address some of those emerging risks, that really creates a lot of stress and resource concerns. Unfortunately, internal audit still has a number of manual processes that it has, especially when it comes to creating audit deliverables, such as a risk and control matrix, audit reports. These deliverables are often created by auditors with different levels of skills and training and experience. And at the end of the day, it results in quality issues. Inconsistent quality, as you see, is one of the challenges we have. And the result is, and I was on both sides of this, I would write a deliverable and have it reviewed by my manager, and it goes back and forth. And as a manager, I would also have to, go back and forth a lot with addressing some of the quality and inconsistencies. And at the end of the day, it's frustrating. It's frustrating on all sides. So the manual processes still exist. Um, from a training point of view, I've experienced about 5 different training programs on writing audit reports and writing issues. So it seems like from a consistency point of view, that's always been a concern. And the inaccessibility to latest technology, from my experience, audit budgets are typically tight, and we do have a lot of challenges sometimes in obtaining the latest technology. So the result of all this is a large portion of our time is spent creating and revising audit deliverables rather than internal audit spending the time to address the expectations that I previously mentioned on executive management to keep pace with our business risk and to meet audit and to meet their expectations. All right, Henry, back to you.
Thanks, Ed. So, so we've heard a little bit about the audit challenges. I'm sure you guys all are experiencing a little bit of each of these contexts. We're going to open a poll and really just want to get a sense from the attendees here. Which of these statements resonates the most with you? I'll open it up and just kind of quickly go through. In audit, I'm always being asked to do more with less. I can't believe how much time I spend making updates and revisions, like Ed was just talking about. I wish I had the time and budget to implement and use these cutting edge tools that are out in the news and everyone's touting as the next best thing. Audit deliverables take a ton of effort to just start creation, right? So we'll give it a little more time, and I'll give it 10 more seconds for participation. And all right, excellent. So the biggest one vote came in at the I wish I had the time and budget to implement and use these cutting edge tools. Close seconds tied were that they can't believe how much time it takes to revise documents or even create the documents. So I think, Ed, we've probably hit on the nail on the head here in regards to these being all very valid concerns and challenges that we've been through during your time in audit, certainly during my time in audit, as well as, honestly, in first line as well.
Yeah, that's true.
All
It
right.
affects everybody. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about ControlSense then.
Yeah. So I guess, Henry, AI capabilities are very quickly evolving. And from what I can see, the use of AI by internal audit really is no longer optional, but it's really a strategic need to keep pace with changing risk complexities and to maintain a competitive advantage for our organization from a control point of view. And that's exactly what inspired us to develop ControlSense. It's a personal AI assistant that is customized for internal audit. So ControlSense does go far beyond the generic AI tools that are currently available and possibly even being used by your teams. Our platform blends industry standards with your organization's institutional knowledge. The results are significant reductions in the manual audit work that we talked about before, with an increase in audit quality, audit assurance, and control testing of large transaction populations. It's kind of a win-win situation. You save time, but you enhance quality and assurance. And finally, we also provide the capabilities to anticipate emerging risk, which is key in meeting our stakeholder concerns. Okay. So ControlSense is really built on 3 pillars to transform the audit experience. The first pillar of amplifying productivity and speed. We're powered by generative AI. ControlSense produces high quality audit deliverables for every phase of the audit lifecycle, and it does it literally in seconds. So, Henry and I both have been in audit for a long time. We know the full audit life cycle, and we've really taken steps to address every phase of it. It eliminates hundreds of hours of manual effort, and it frees auditors to focus on what truly our stakeholders are looking for, our insight, our judgment, and help to provide and enhance the strategic engagement with our stakeholders. Next, I'm going to talk about elevating assurance. Um, Audit professionals really are now expected to perform data-driven audits to test large data populations. And ControlSense directly meets those expectations by providing the capabilities for all auditors, non-technical auditors especially, to import large data files into the platform. And then all you have to do is enter simple questions. You don't have to worry about coding or anything. You can just ask questions related to the data, and it'll come back with your test results. And this capability obviously significantly enhances audit assurance. We're no longer testing small samples. We're now testing large data populations. And from a coverage point of view, excuse me, since our business risks are constantly changing and becoming more complex, ControlSense actually can leverage a deep pool of current information, and it recommends back the risk controls and audit tests that pertain to the business that you're auditing. So instead of auditors relying on prior work papers, which unfortunately often is the case, ControlSense now brings us into a current state of the emerging risks that need to be considered for the audit. And now enabling us to become a strategic partner. By combining the productivity and assurance that I just talked about, ControlSense does empower auditors to shift from execution to insight, advising businesses, anticipating risk, and developing strategic value. So
Next. So
hopefully that helps. Go for it, Henry.
yeah, and I think I'll transition a little more specifically to what we have at ControlSense, or what we have built so far, to be able to kind of realize some of those pillars. As Ed had mentioned, we really built this by auditors for the overall audit lifecycle, right? We have planning phase, fieldwork phase, reporting phase. Within each of these phases, we focused on some of the bigger pain points, some of the more manual aspects, some of the ones where there may be more variability, and therefore leading in a poorer quality or consistency across the way. So out here we have listed the modules that we have. I'll quickly go through some of them. And really just for those that are eagle-eyed, you'll note that some of these are bolded. On the next slide, I will ask everyone to vote for which one they would want to see as part of this live demo, and we'll run it live in the upcoming minutes. So within planning, we have the guided planning memo. This is basically a memo where you're documenting your scope, the processes that you're looking at, your stakeholders, et cetera, et cetera. Usually it's a fairly long document, and therefore what ControlSense does is takes some of your inputs, gets and outputs a document that's, I'll say, 90% of the way there for you to then just do some final revisions depending on how your scoping of your planning phase goes and the like. Next, we have guided RCM creation. This is especially useful for new audits or emerging areas like Ed was talking about, where you can put in your processes, risks, controls, or ask ControlSense to suggest some risks and controls for you to look at. It will then pop out a standard RCM with some test objectives and test scripts for you to then follow into field work. If you already have an RCM in place, say it's something from a prior year, you can also use that as a basis for the test script creation, which then takes your RCM and creates a couple of steps and suggested testing for you to carry on during field work to try to identify those operational deficiencies. Moving on to field work, document chat. This is something that I will demonstrate because I do think it's something pretty familiar to those that have kind of poked into the AI world. But just to give you a sense that, ControlSense does have, all of these things that you can do with, ChatGPT or Copilot, but we're trying to encompass all of these different elements into it. Data analytics testing, as Ed mentioned, it's pretty much an expectation for large data testing to occur. So that will be something where you can upload large data sets, prompt it for a couple questions, and it'll spit out a result. At the end of field work, when you do find exceptions, creating those drafts sometimes can be a little tricky with your concern statements, your impact statements, as well as the proposed action plans. So this will be something where you can throw in a couple sentences, and again, it won't be the final version, but it'll get you 90% of the way there. Going into the reporting, the action plan creation is something that you can use to, based off the issue that is being opened, really assess what the business is coming back, your stakeholders coming back with on, hey, is this action plan truly good enough, right? And then you can use that as a benchmark against what they're proposing to do. Audit report creation, I think personally, this is my favorite because audit reports can be a bear to create, even if there is a template or a standard that already exists. But with audit report creation, essentially, you upload an RCM with your pass fails and some details about your exceptions. And it will pop out an end-to-end audit report from scoping through the risks, through issues, issue details, and the like, which was really impressive to me in regards to how quickly it was able to get that done. And then audit executive summary, which is something where if ControlSense is implemented for your team or your company, it's something where it can pull in data to try to provide some more executive level insights, emerging risks, trending, et cetera, et cetera. All right. So as promised, we are going to take another poll here. And of those that were bolded, we'd like to understand for the audience which one of these modules you would like to see demonstrated live today.
Yeah, Henry, this is perfect that we have the audience coming in and seeing what their biggest thing is. I loved audit report creation, but I also think the guided RCM personally is something that adds a lot of value because that's kind of the meat and potatoes of the audit. So
Yep.
either way, I think we would win on
And I
that.
think our audience agrees with you because that has won by a landslide. So guided RCM creation will be what we will demonstrate briefly.
Great.
Very good. All right. So now I'm going to get into the live demo itself. First, I'll kind of show the ControlSense AI website, how to navigate it. I'll also click through in case you are interested on how to get your free access to the demo environment. After that, I'll do a quick example of the document chat, as I'd mentioned, where we'll upload a pretty lengthy regulation and ask it to summarize for us. And you can see how that may be something that would be useful in your day-to-day to just help process some information and the like. And finally, the core workflow, in today's case, the guided RCM, is what we will then go through. We'll pick a topic, and then you guys will be able to see it generate the RCM live and what it outputs. Okay, so let me then change my screen share.
So as Henry goes into actual control sense, just that's something that ControlSense.ai is something that's available for everyone to try and to play with and to see if it can meet some of your needs. So here you go. Go ahead, Henry.
All right, so here's your ControlSense.ai website. Everyone can access it. It's on the public domain. If you are interested, you can go into just pricing up here. Get started now under this free essentials access, and that gives you access to the demo environment. And then you can throw in your email, create a password. I already have an account, so I'm going to just sign in and then navigate it through there. Okay, so I am logged in now. What you would want to do is go to Audit Platform. On the left side here, you'll see the modules that we had just spoken throughout the planning, fieldwork, and reporting phases. As promised, I will go through the document chat first. So again, just to recap, this is something where you can upload a piece of document. It could be a policy procedure. This can be used during planning or field work to help you better process or guide some of the scoping of the work that you're doing. I am going to select a regulation that's near and dear to my heart, where, let me see. No, these are my pictures. My bathroom. So you can see my before and after, something I was really proud of. But if we talk about the regulations, the Flood Disaster Protection Act is one where it's very heavy in the mortgage industry, something that as my time in first line became very important. But it was really hard to get an understanding of it. So I really wish I had this information at my fingertips to even just help me get started to understand, all right, how do I break down this document? How do I break down these requirements? What areas of non-compliance and the like do I need, right? So here I've uploaded a document already. What I'm going to do is, what are the key requirements of the Flood Disaster Protection Act regulation? So something as easy as a prompt like that, I'll submit it, and it'll take a couple moments to process what I'm asking, what the document has. I think overall it is a 32-page document, PDF, and if any of you guys are familiar with OCC, SEC, any of these regulatory documents, they're pretty dry and sometimes very difficult to read. So here you go. It summarizes very quickly, right? Here are some of the key requirements, flood insurance requirements, flood hazard, how to determine whether or not you have you are in a flood zone or not. When can you use third parties, acceptance of private flood insurance, escrow and forced placement. And as you go through these, you can ask it further and further questions based off of the document you have uploaded. And that will really help prompt your learning as you're scoping out certain aspects of your audit, or just trying to learn where are some of the key areas that you should keep a focus on during your audit. Okay. And again, if you need to check the sources, it'll prompt you to the pages and the like that you'll have. Okay. All right. So that was document chat. Very similar to your Copilot and the like, but this is all the ControlSense was built such that you can just use this kind of end to end throughout the whole life cycle. All right, and then we will get into the winner of the poll, which is a guided RCM. So in this, you'll see a series of prompts, in which case I'll pick a topic that I'm very familiar with. I think, Ed, when I met you, I was in the business continuity team for audit. And later on, I moved into a consumer bank. So I'm going to merge the best of both worlds and say that we're going to look at a business continuity and business recovery of a customer call center.
That's perfect.
So this is going to be the process, kind of the area that we're looking at. I'm going to say continue. It'll prompt, are there any specific sub-process that you're focused on? At this point, I want to see everything end to end from a business continuity plan. So I'll just say continue. I'm still at the beginning of an audit right now. I do not know which IT applications in. So I'm just going to use this to get a basis of the RCM, and then we can fill in the blanks later. For risks, if I did not know anything about it, I can just ask ControlSense to propose some risks to me. So that's what I will do. So propose some risks to me. And similarly, I haven't completed the control design testing yet. I'm still doing an exploration. So I'm going to say propose some controls to me. Propose controls to me here. And the thing that you can do is you can use this as a baseline. So as you do your planning work, if there's something that doesn't quite match up, you can obviously assess whether what the business or your stakeholders have in play is good enough, or maybe they're completely missing in control and no one's really thought or questioned it. So kind of going back into the adding value and being kind of a trusted advisor, a pillar. That is something that you could certainly use ControlSense for as just another data point for you to think about and kind of really assess what the risk mitigation levels are. And then this is essentially just telling you it'll categorize it as preventative and detective, but you can always you should and can update this afterwards. So I've clicked submit. We'll give it a couple seconds.
So like you said, Henry, this is a way of double checking the completeness of your risk and controls that you have. Even if you have something to start with, this is a way of double checking just to make sure everything is considered.
Correct. And you can see that within that, I don't know, 20 seconds that we're just talking, Ed, it's popped up in RCM. Again, it'll get you 90% of the way there. You can make updates, edits, go through management reviews, negotiate with the stakeholders, as we're all very familiar with. But you'll see that it's given 7 controls or so as a basis for you to use. As always, we all love using Excel workbooks, so I'm going to download that and then demonstrate what that looks like. I got to make sure that
I think it's important to note here for the audience that this is, our base RCM, but all of these deliverables can be customized to meet any of the specific needs and requirements that your methodology has. So we feel this is a really good starting point here, as Henry said, but the format and the output can be customized to meet your exact requirements.
All right. And here it is. I think this has come up. So you can see here's the 7. It talks about you have your processes, your risk description, control descriptions, and then it's also given a couple of test objectives and the procedures that you may want to follow. Obviously, from a step, you may want to break that down further within your work papers, but this would be an excellent starting point. Say if I knew that this was an area that I needed to focus on, but didn't really know where to start. As I do my exploration and an investigation from a planning perspective, I can look at these and say, hey, what about this component, right? Do they really do testing? I don't think the stakeholders had said anything about testing, and really try to get the sense of where there may be missing controls or just general control designs missing there. Okay. All right, I am going to go back to the uh, the PowerPoint here. All right, so you've seen a little bit of what ControlSense can do. Um, Hopefully you'll have seen some of these benefits or the potential for the benefits here.
Yeah, I mean, just to go over them very quickly, there are significant increases in order productivity. It directly addresses the resource challenges that we talked about before. It just significantly reduces the time that is needed to develop these audit deliverables. And the audit deliverables, significantly enhanced in audit quality. They meet industry standards. As Henry mentioned before, when you're doing just an actual issue, there are standards and requirements for what the issue should contain, root cause, things like that. And this is done automatically. From an audit assurance point of view, as we talked about, non-technical auditors can test large data populations. That's something that, was always a challenge previously with training that was needed. And overall, there is just a huge increase in the consistency of the deliverables that are provided. It facilitates the management review, and audits are delivered at the end of the day, audits are delivered much faster with higher quality. So I think, as I said before, it's a win-win situation using it. You get better quality, faster audits, and frankly, less frustration. Back to you, Henry.
And in another slide or two, we will have the Q&A session after. So feel free to submit those if you haven't already. If you have any questions, going forward, if this is something you're interested, here are a couple things that you can do. Right? If you wanted to get a sense of the look and feel and actually try to use it, you can get access to our demo environment. And that's what I had shown at the beginning of the demo, but you can follow this link, click this button, and sign up with your email. If this is something that eventually, whether now or in the future, decide, hey, yeah, this is something that we really would like to implement for our teams. We do see the benefits. We really want to try to capture, some of this AI benefit. You can fill out the contact form at this following link, and Ed and I will then schedule a call with your team just to get a better understanding of yourself, your team size, your industry, and make sure that the control sense will be the right fit for you guys. Otherwise, if there's any questions that you have not asked today, or as you're clicking through, you have questions about, feel free to email Ed or myself at henry@controlsense.ai or ed@controlsense.ai. All right. Okay, and so now we will get into the Q&A session. So we have a couple here, Ed. The first one is, what topics, domains, or industries was ControlSense built for?
Oh, okay. Well, that's a great question. Frankly, Control Sense fits the needs of every industry, every function. And the reason is that it's a Gen AI platform that goes into a deep pool of audit best practices, but also current information and emerging risk data across all industries and functions. So it really wasn't built for one item in particular or one industry in particular. It really can be used across industries. Okay.
Right. All right, and Ed, I'll take the next one. It's the question was, what additional functionality is ControlSense currently working on? There's a couple that are going on here. We do want to further polish up what was existing, so the modules that exist there. We're looking into going into a SaaS model so that it makes some of the implementation easier for certain companies and teams, and it also gives the flexibility for them to be able to do so. finally, I think one of the next forefront from Gen AI perspective is we are looking to expand ControlSense into more of a agentic AI, where it can be. I think Ed had mentioned that, it's going to be your assistant, right? Day in, day out, whether you're using it for continuous auditing or something that can help you throughout your testing and thinking and writing of certain issues and the like. So that's kind of the next use case for what we want to bring ControlSense to, because then it's really at the forefront and something that can be built into your day-to-day. Let me see. And I think we have one last question. And Ed, you let me know if you want me to take this or if you want me to. They say that they're interested, but can you tell me more about how the implementation would work?
Yeah.
Um,
All right. Well, why don't you take that, Henry?
yeah.
You could probably do
Yeah,
a
so
very
so
good job of that.
right now the idea is that we would after the initial meetings there will be more technical meetings that are required, but for the most part we would then take ControlSense and essentially create its a version of it within your own environment. So in that sense, you would then be able to manage the data that you're putting in there. It would then all follow your company's data protection and data management practices, and which is obviously from an audit perspective very, very important. In our demo world, it is secure, but again, it is a demo, right? So would not suggest putting confidential information there as an example. Um, but otherwise, I think the other option I had mentioned was from a SaaS perspective, that will then allow everyone to have their own kind of virtual environments, isolated, specific to their own teams or companies. But that is something that's in the works and not live yet. All right. Let me check one more time if there are any other questions. And I think that was the last one.
Great.
So all in all, thank you guys for joining us this afternoon or evening, wherever you are in the world. Hopefully you guys get a chance to click around, sign up for the demo, and feel free to, again, reach out to Ed or myself for any questions that you may have. Thank you so
Excellent.
much, guys. Have a good weekend.
Yeah. Thank you, Henry. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Appreciate it.